Say you never heard of Krampus.
Hey, Bradley Palermo here from Grapple City Rewind. You may not know it, maybe you do, but I'm also a musician. Every year I record a brand new holiday track like Krampus or Whiskey for Everyone this Christmas, things of that nature. And then we perform all those songs live in my barbershop in Los Angeles, California. We only got room for like 25, 30 people, and some of those tickets have already gone. So make sure you grab your spot now. It's BYOB or Have Some On Me. Saturday, December 6th. Link in the episode description.
There were no reindeer games, it was all tongue and fang.
Hey everyone, this is Aaron Fink from Grapple City Rewind. If you like what you hear on this episode, make sure to subscribe with whatever podcast platform you use so you never miss an episode. Also, be sure to check out our back catalog of 20 plus episodes. We talk old pay-per-views, so they're always good to go back to. All right, cue that music.
Hello, and welcome to Grapple City Rewind, taking you all the way back to the iconic pay-per-views and television specials that shaped pro wrestling history. On this episode, we are revisiting WCW's 1997 pay-per-view known as Halloween Havoc. The event took place in Las Vegas, and it promised to, quote-unquote, change wrestling forever. Or actually, it said, tonight wrestling will change forever. Will it change wrestling forever? Or will it just forever change how Aaron and I feel about watching so much goddamn wrestling? Only time will tell in the rewind. Yeah. But before we get into all of the havoc that is Halloween Havoc 1997, I'm Bradley Palermo, as always, with Aaron Fink. And Aaron, there's been a couple pay-per-views of modern day that have happened since we've spoken last. So maybe we should touch on those a little bit. Maybe first, last week, Bound for Glory by TNA. What'd you think of that one, man?
I enjoyed it quite a bit. There's always one or two matches that I'm like, meh, but
right.
I would say overall, pretty much every match was solid. My favorites, I think it probably goes without saying anyone who saw Leon Slater versus Javon Evans, which was for the TNA X Division Championship. This match, probably match of the year contender. I mean, these two guys are so young, so talented, both crazy high flyers. I have seen them both wrestle before, but I think putting them together made for a very special match. The crowd was obviously a big part of why this felt great, because they were super into it as well. Super solid match, highly recommended. I would say the only thing that you could ding this match for was how it ended. I won't give it away just in case there's somebody who wants to go back and watch it. But yeah, this match was spectacular.
Yeah, it was a bad finish, and I had spoken to you off the air about this, but it doesn't really matter because everything that happened before then. Hey, I'd never even seen Leon or Javon, to my knowledge, before. Mm-hmm. Leon Slater, of course, TNA, Javon Evans, NXT. Mm-hmm. And these guys are fucking nuts. And I'm not like the most like high flyer, like fan number one, I'm pretty like traditional in what I like, but this was just the back and forth and how natural they were. It was just damn. And we probably get to see these guys for like 20 more years plus, right? They're babies.
Yeah. Like they're just starting out. I think they're both 20 or 21. So yeah, right. As you said, many, many more years. Highly recommend the match to anybody who did not check it out. I personally really enjoyed the final table match between the Hardys and Team 3D, otherwise known as the Dudley Boys.
Right.
And, for a match between a bunch of guys in their late 40s and early 50s with honestly not a ton of wrestling per se, I thought it was really good. It was very emotionally charged. I felt like you could always feel what the guys were feeling because, to anyone who's listening to this episode and has listened to previous episodes, we've covered these two teams in a tables match semi-recently at the Royal Rumble 2000. And so they've been wrestling each other for about 25 years on and off. And they both would not be the teams that are held in such high regard as they are without one another. So this was an emotional match. Also won't give the finish away, but yeah, it was, I got choked up a little bit at the end, and not that I have any real emotional connection to these guys beyond seeing them as wrestlers, but I felt things. This thing made me feel things.
Yeah, it was worth the money for the pay-per-view. I was for these two matches, the Leon Slater one and then the Dudleys and the Hardys, and I liked it. It was emotional. It wasn't about the wrestling. It was about it being the time, and I just thought it was funny because, of course, like Bubba Ray Dudley, also known as Bully, is always on the radio on XM talking about pro wrestling day in and day out, and he gave it a rating, his own match, of 5 stars. So he said it was an instant 5-star classic, which got some heat online, I think, but
yeah.
It was for the story. And he said, fuck you guys if you don't. Well, I'm paraphrasing, but if you don't think it was 5 stars, he's like, it's about what happened in the building. And in the building, people were freaking the fuck out, and it was cool. I mean, there were some spots there like that didn't hit that hard. Like they put out, I don't know, 2 tables under the swanton, so Jeff didn't have to like land on Bubba. But like,
yeah, Devon. But yeah, they definitely.
All right,
he definitely took that one easy.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, there were some things, but I mean, it's pro wrestling. There's always things, and if you could feel something out of a match, that's probably the most important thing. So I was excited to see it for those two. For everything else, it was like there were some cool things. There were some things that weren't. I skip the matches nowadays. Now that we watch so much wrestling that I'm not interested in. But I mean, I did watch this like 10-man mixed gender thing, and it had its moments too. I had a fun time with it. Was there?
There was a world championship match that was pretty
Santana.
good too. Yeah, Santana against Trick Williams. Yeah,
cool.
Another pretty solid match. They had been feuding for a while. For those who don't know, Trick Williams is a member of NXT, which is a WWE property. Mike Santana is a TNA wrestler. And Trick Williams had won the TNA World Championship a few months ago, not from Santana, but, had held it. And he's a heel. He's a bad guy, basically doing whatever he wants, not showing up to TNA appearances when he's supposed to. So the story going into this was that somebody needed to take the championship back for TNA. And I believe that these two wrestled each other a couple months ago in New York, which is Santana's home state, and he couldn't get the job done. So this was Santana's redemption. And there are some people who would say that maybe he should have won it back then in New York because, the crowd was very much behind him, but they were behind him here too. So I thought it was a great match. Again, once the match was over, I didn't really love what happened after that. I thought it was a little strange and unnecessary. Like Santana, I'll spoil it. Santana beat Trick. He didn't really get a chance to like celebrate until after this like sort of tomfoolery happened. It kind of took me out of it, but these are like minor gripes. This is me just complaining, but overall, I thought that was a really fun show. And then talking about current product again, yesterday was WrestleDream, AEW's pay-per-view. And I know that we both watched this. What did you think of WrestleDream?
Yeah, so the main event on this was not really the title match, the title match was world champion Hangman Adam Page versus Samoa Joe. I mean, solid match, but no one really, I don't think, thought that Samoa Joe was going to take back the belt this early in Hangman's career. Okay, so I think we're going to have to get to the main event in a minute, which was Mox and Darby Allin. Well, I guess what I was most excited about was Chris Statlander versus Toni Storm. But like, it's weird because I'm a huge fan of both of those women.
Yeah,
I
me
just
too.
think they're excellent wrestlers. And I really didn't know who to fucking root for, which was kind of a weird place to be in. But it was so cool to see them together. And they were doing it as two baby faces and respectfully of each other. I mean, there's some shit talk, but I didn't really love how Chris just pummeled Tony the entire time. Like Tony got no shine in the match, really.
It felt a little one-sided. Yeah, it was interesting. I think the crowd was also unsure about who to cheer for. And that can happen sometimes when you have two baby faces up against each other.
I think it's tough. And I think you almost have to switch one heel just for the match, which you can kind of do. You can have someone kind of be a little more piss and vinegar and just be kind of like, and the indies do that all the time. Like everyone loves both people, but then they let you know kind of who is a little bit more of the asshole in this moment, right?
Yeah, they do it in WWE sometimes too. The seasoned wrestlers certainly do.
Yeah, so I mean, it was kind of sad to see Tony just get stomped on, but I don't know. I still love to see those two. I was excited.
Yeah,
it wasn't like their best matches, but it was solid. And my friends, shout out to my friends Peter and Kelsey who were in the audience. They were on the hard cam, so I kept taking pictures of them in the audience and sending it to them while they were there. And Kelsey got some FaceTime of her being grossed out, visibly repulsed on camera in the next match. Probably because she was, like Peter said, probably the only woman in the room, so they decided to put the camera on her. But
yeah,
it was very, as it is, a very male dominated room. But yeah, Hangman versus Moxley versus Darby Allin. We've seen this before in other stipulations. This was, I would say, a death match. It was a I quit match, but it was very creative. There was, I think, the first time I've ever seen someone given like essentially like a fish tank swirly, like held his face under the water. Sting made an appearance. That was kind of cool. He's got long gray hair and a long gray goatee with some black dye down the middle.
Fish tank swirly. I mean, they tried to drown him, Brad. He was being drowned.
I mean, when you drown someone in a toilet, it's swirly.
It's a swirly, yeah, I know.
Yeah, right.
Was that the part that she was? No, she must have been grossed out by the skewer up the fingernail.
That's what it was. It was her face with the
that shit. I was screaming in bed as I was watching it. I won't mirror my scream, but I was just, oh.
Did you see her on the screen the first time, or just
I guess I did. Yeah,
it's funny.
I just didn't realize that it was her.
She was making the perfect face for it. I mean, just like like hands over the eye, like pulling down the eyelids, like
yeah. Nobody wants to get bamboo shoots stuck under their fingernails. That shit's insane.
Yeah, that was funny. I mean, I go and I sit in like the second row and shit, and like.
You get blood on you.
she's like in like pretty close though, like sixth row or something. But I was like, how you got fucking FaceTime in the audience? Like only like one person, maybe a couple kids get that.
Yeah.
It's pretty.
You just
cool.
have to be shocked.
Yeah, I mean, I was just so stoked to see that. It's hilarious. But I mean, there's so much obviously on an AEW pay-per-view to talk about.
Yeah.
Like we're not going to get to all of it, but
I'll tell you my other favorite match. Kyle Fletcher versus Mark Briscoe. For the TNT Championship. That match, super good. I think a lot of it has to do with Kyle Fletcher, who is very tall, very beefy, and getting better and better as the months go by. Not that he was ever bad, but I think in the last 6 months in particular, he's gotten really good. Just knows how to get heat, makes his stuff look real snug and intense and real. It had an incredible false finish where, I think he low blowed Mark Briscoe and then hit him with like a big old brain buster. And you're like, oh shit, that's the 3. And Briscoe kicked out and crowd went wild. It was great.
Yeah. Briscoe never wins, right?
I think he beat MJF in that tax match a month ago. Didn't he?
No.
I think he did.
Really?
I think so.
He beat MJF in that?
I don't know. MJF can take a loss. I'm pretty sure he did. Now I got to look it up.
No,
I'm doubting myself. Is that all?
He never wins, dude. He lost. He loses everything. Oh wait, you're right.
It was all out. It was all out. Yeah, he won.
Mark Briscoe beats MJF in a table. All right, I stand corrected. Mark Briscoe does win sometimes.
We'll be back after a quick break.
And this episode has been brought to you by Weber for Law, your tag team partner when life body slams you out of nowhere. If you've been injured in an accident, motorcycle, car, dog bite, slip and fall, or even if you've been hit in the head with a flying steel chair, these are the guys to call. They've got knockout reviews on Google, a killer track record, and they always fight for the win. I can testify to that personally. Weber for Law took care of me, and they will take care of you too. Don't wait. Visit weberforlaw.com. That's WEBER, the number 4, law.com. Or call 818-502-9200. That's 818-502-9200. Weber for Law, your tag team partner when life body slams you out of nowhere.
He needed it. I mean, I think they had probably wrestled a few times and he had not won. So
yeah, and the crowd, I mean, they fucking love him, especially in my hometown of St. Louis, you know?
Yeah, and ever since his brother passed away too, he's been super over with the crowd.
Yeah, we've got a lot of dudes walking around that look like Mark Briscoe, where I'm from.
With teeth missing and lots of tattoos.
Their kids tattooed. He's got like all 13 of his children tattooed on him. All the boys names start with M, so it's like
I think all of them start with M.
All of them start with M.
I think those are all of his kids. Yeah, on his ribcage.
Guess we.
You know what's funny is like when he's not wrestling, he does kind of still have that accent, but not entirely. Like he's definitely he's not as much of a redneck as he pretends to be.
Yeah, I think it's something you can kind of fall into. Like I wasn't really raised speaking like too
with the twang
rural, but I have family members that do, and so I was, and then when I get around them, I can go into an accent that's kind of close to what he does, like accidentally just from like who I'm around, right? And then when I'm not there, it's like, nah, dude, it's whatever. It's fucking raised in the suburbs.
You're back with the West Coast, bro, dude.
But he seems. Have you ever seen that clip of Mark Briscoe doing the weather in some like local station?
I have.
He's fucking funny. I mean,
he's funny.
That guy should be like a character, like bit actor on movies. Like they should. Like he's fucking funny. I mean, you just put him in something for a second. He can be the hitchhiker or something weird, like a Steve Buscemi type. Early career type weird thing you can put him in. Like he's
put him in Heels season 3 if there ever is one.
Yeah. Oh, dude, that'd be a great idea.
And now it's time for the rewind.
All right, so we're going back to October 26th, 1997, in the MGM Garden Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada, for WCW's Halloween Havoc 1997. We're talking Roddy Piper versus Hollywood Hogan in the opening package. Hogan is NWO. Piper is babyface, which is different than some things we'd seen, back in the 80s with these two, although they've gone at it many, many times. Hogan in the opening package claims he's a god in the ring.
This Hulk Hogan, I hate you.
Tonight, him and Piper are going to enter into some sort of thing that resembles a cage match. Commentary.
Flimsiest cage ever.
Yeah. Commentary, Tony Schiavone, Dusty Rhodes, Bobby Heenan. Dusty's funny. He says, Roddy better know what he's doing or the NWO road may go on forever and the party may never end, which is, of course, a Robert Earl Keen reference, although most people probably know it from the Highwaymen cover version of that song that came out in the late 80s, which is probably what Dusty was referring to. Slim Jim shit everywhere, all over the ring. It's called the Slim Jim Hollywood Havoc. So everyone's eating their beef sticks and getting ready for some wrestling. And match number 1 was... Actually, why don't you introduce it, Aaron? Because I cannot pronounce Japanese names I'm learning from the show.
Okay. Yeah, sure. First match, Yuji Nagata with Sonny Ono in his corner versus Ultimo Dragon. Ultimo Dragon was one of my favorites as a kid. I think it was probably just because he was a fast-paced cruiserweight. He had very bright colors, and his mask was pretty cool. Did you know that Ultimo Dragon... And they mentioned this in commentary, he had 9 different belts at one time. And I thought this was really interesting because the other day, while we were watching WrestleDream, I heard Excalibur call Mercedes Moné, I heard him say that Mercedes Moné is now calling herself Ultimo Moné.
Oh,
because
really?
she had so many belts.
That's funny. I missed that part.
Yeah, I don't know why she didn't say Ultimone. That would have been funnier, man.
I was in like a kind of like a Spanish kick on this episode. There's a lot of things I was thinking about because I just been playing with Duolingo now for like 1,000 days. And I was like, yo, he's called the final
Ultimate
dragon.
Yeah.
Well, ultimate, I guess, but like also it can mean like the last dragon, right?
Yeah.
But that's funny about him and Monet. That's kind of her like digging for a deep cut there.
Yeah. I mean, she's got 11 belts now. Jesus, so many.
Which is a great way to sort of put over a star without like a real like championship title. It's like, well, you don't have a world title, right? That's what I mean. I guess not championship, but world. You don't have a world title, but you have like all of these bullshit indie titles. Like, we should send her the fucking Grapple City Rewind belt.
And she'll be 12 belts, Monet.
It's way fucking cooler than most of her belts. But yes. Yeah. What were your thoughts on this one? I thought personally, this was the second best match of the evening.
Yeah, I agree. As I said, I was a big fan of Ultimo Dragon when I was younger. I always thought it was really interesting. Like, Ultimo Dragon is dressed up like a luchador. He's got a mask. He was born in Japan and trained in Japan, but he also trained in Mexico. So he's well versed in lucha libre. Very interesting that there's like this dichotomy living inside of him. But I thought the match was great. Super fast paced, super hard hitting when it needed to be. Lots of like high flying twirly shit. I actually I don't think I've ever seen a Yuji Nagata match before, but I obviously, when I looked him up, I was like, oh wow, very accomplished dude. He was one of the longest reigning IWGP heavyweight champions. I think he had like the 5th longest reign of all time. Yeah, it was pretty short, but entertaining. Nagata had targeted Ultimo Dragon's arm. I think he like dragged it over the turnbuckle thing, the metal thing that holds it to the ring post. And from then on was kind of just targeting the arm. And he ended up getting Dragon to submit with some sort of armbar. And I guess Sonny Ono, the story they were trying to tell was that Sonny Ono had hired Yuji Nagata as like a hitman of sorts to take out Ultimo Dragon. So as usual, WCW is really, really good with the undercard, luchador, cruiserweight, midcard stuff, and this is no exception to that. It was solid.
Would you call what Yuji was doing? That's like strong style, right?
Yeah, I guess so. Definitely Japanese style. Read this whole book about Japanese wrestling, and by the 90s, that was essentially what most people were doing, is like that mix of amateur martial arts and holds and strikes. Yeah, it definitely felt like kind of like a Shinsuke Nakamura type match,
Yeah, like when because of the kick pads or whatever, when it almost seemed unfair, because when Ultimo kicked, there was daylight between him and the kick for the safety of Yuji. But when Yuji kicked with those kick pads, full fucking like slap sound.
He was kicking the shit out of him. Yeah.
Pop. And I was like, well, that's not fair. He's really fucking kicking him. Like,
I think Dragon got a few real kicks in, but not very many.
Yeah, it was crazy. Those stiff kicks were, the first time I saw that in the indies where someone has like the kick pads and they do the stiff kicks, I was like, whoa, fuck. Like,
yeah.
I thought everything was fucking going to be fake. And it's like punching someone with a boxing glove, right? I don't know all the tricks, but for me watching it, it's kind of cool.
It felt real.
We see like lucha versus like the Japanese style all the time in AEW, but on this show, watching like retro American promotions, we see it, but this is kind of like an early version of it.
Yeah, it's kind of uncommon. The other interesting thing about this match is, like, right in the middle of it, Raven showed up with his crew. I don't know. I don't think they were calling it Raven's Flock. I think that was ECW's name for him. But I think I saw Billy Kidman, Stevie Richards, and Perry Saturn. I remember all those guys when I was a kid. So they were there for the whole show, but they didn't do anything.
Yeah.
They just held up signs and sat with the fans.
The show is very confused. Clearly there wasn't like one level-headed person putting this whole thing together. But I also wanted to say, I know we're hanging out on the first match still for a long time, but I kind of went down like a rabbit hole about the Frankensteiner, because when Ultimo does the Frankensteiner, or when he does the Hurricane Rana, they call it a Frankensteiner.
Yeah.
And I was like, I guess it is a Frankensteiner because it's their version of it. But I was thinking, like, where where did like the Hurricane Rana come from? And then I realized it's from this dude, Hurricane Ramirez. So like Hurricane Ramirez. Have you ever heard of him?
Mm-mm.
I guess he was like a really big deal Mexican wrestler, like back in, I don't know which decade, but before the TV era. His move was La Hurricane Rana, so the frog hurricane. Yeah, I mean, the American style kind of changed it a little bit and started calling it like the Frankensteiner when they do the Steiner Brothers version of it. But
yeah,
I never thought, I mean, I know I told you already, but I never really dawned on me that like Hurricane Rana, what is that? Why are you saying hurricane wrong? I'm like, oh, it's Spanish for frog hurricane. And why?
Yeah.
Okay, because of Hurricane Ramirez.
Well, now we know. Yeah.
Solid opener. It set a strong tone that really wasn't capitalized on later.
That's true. It did not maintain this level of excitement throughout the show.
No. So the next match, which I always think is ridiculous, is a bonus match. A bonus match should be like before the cameras go on.
Right.
Or like, this is match 2, bro. And it's Ghetto, Gedo versus Chris Jericho. Lionheart Chris Jericho, nonetheless. Which I was kind of stoked to see Chris Jericho. Although this match, you don't get to see a lot from these guys, really. It's a 7-minute match. Oh, by the way, Meltzer gave a 3.75 on the last match.
Nice. I care, even though Meltzer can be silly sometimes. Did you notice in this Ghetto versus Chris Jericho match that they used Jericho's WWF music? They overdubbed it.
Oh, it dawned on me. I was like, this seems early for this song to be on there.
The walls down. Yeah, that's his WWF theme. Definitely an overdub, a stupid overdub if you know anything about wrestling. And I guess his song for WCW was like a blatant ripoff of a Pearl Jam song, and they couldn't get the rights for it when they bought the catalog. So
wow.
They just decided to use his WWF theme. Pretty silly.
Damn, yeah. Ghetto looks like he's never done as much as like a light jog in his life.
He is
like
rotund.
If everyone, and he's wearing a belly shirt, so the entire belly is out. But I mean, he has no muscle. He's like not the biggest guy on the planet, but he has zero muscles, just weird flab in weird places. Like if anyone ever wondered if anyone can become a pro wrestler, I don't know. This guy got in the ring with Chris Jericho somehow. It's like looking like that. And there's really nothing he did to be like, well, fuck, at least he can go. I don't know about that.
Yeah, I think overall it was a good showing for Jericho. It was not as good as the match we saw last week with Chris Jericho against The Rock, but still entertaining. Very quick, like you said. I think Jericho won with his lion tamer, is what they called it back then.
Which now we call the Walls of Jericho.
Yep.
Right. There was like a top rope super Frankensteiner. Speaking of Frankensteiners.
Yeah, that they botched the hell out of.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you, because they were trying to be like, well, I don't think he got all of it. And I'm like, well, I think
he blocked it.
I think, he blocked it. I'm like, no, dude, I think they just botched the fuck out of it. Yeah,
no, the Ghetto completely botched it.
Yeah.
It was, that was commentary doing their normal, well, let's cover for this terrible mistake that we're now showing the replay of twice.
Yeah. Why did you show it to us again? I was like, doubling down when you make a mistake. I guess that's what that was.
I don't know.
but the third match this would be the best match of the night. This was what some people say is like the best match of all time. I'm going to go ahead and say, like,
probably one of the best WCW matches, or maybe one of the best matches of the 90s.
For certainly. I mean, we see... Well, I'm not going to take anything away from it. It's Eddie Guerrero versus Rey Mysterio Jr., Cruiserweight title versus mask match. They come out 100 miles an hour.
Mm-hmm. Eddie sucks chants right off the bat. Eddie is very clearly the heel, and the crowd hates him.
Yeah, Ray's like, I don't know. There's some spots in here that you still don't really see. There's like a springboard backflip DDT that's pretty crazy.
There's so much crazy shit in this match. I feel like this is a perfect match. I don't think I saw a single thing that went wrong, even when there was a move where you were like, ooh, maybe they didn't get all of that, but then they somehow managed to like make it look perfect, make it look seamless. There was I think Ray jumped over the top rope and like went for a Hurricane Rana on the floor, and it looked like he was gonna like slam Eddie's head into the friggin' concrete, but Eddie manages to roll at the last second. Like,
Yeah, they called it a somersault flip into head scissors on the outside.
Oh, head scissors, yeah.
But I was like, I just wrote down, wow, like what the fuck, like the shit that we could say about it is almost impossible to even.
You can't do it justice. Yeah, these guys had wrestled each other so many times by this point in their careers. I don't remember exactly what the number was, but Ray mentioned in an interview once, like they wrestled each other hundreds of times, easily, if not 1,000 times. So
this 13 minutes feels like 4 because you're just captivated the entire time. They don't stop moving.
Mm-hmm.
They are crazy. I mean, saying these guys are high flying, obviously, it's an understatement. Yeah.
Eddie gave Ray one of the gnarliest power bombs I've ever seen. I don't remember when in the match it happened, but I was just like, oh my God.
Yeah, I don't feel like I ever really say like this is required viewing, but this one obviously is required viewing. And I think anyone who's well versed in 90s wrestling events will point to this one. This is the reason I wanted to watch this. I've seen it, but I take it in differently when I watch for the podcast because I know we're going to be speaking on it. But it's just really amazing. I mean, I guess Ray's outfit's kind of dumb, and I don't.
I like it,
but Eddie's ripping at Ray's mask the entire time. I was thinking again about the Spanish language, how Rey Mysterio is the Mystery King.
Mm-hmm.
And WCW went as far as to take the mask off the dude at one point. Later in the, was it later, right? Like more like 98?
Like 99 or something. Yeah, it was a Bischoff and Russo decision, unfortunately. The guy on your shirt.
Yeah, I have Russo on my shirt, but ironically. But yeah, when they were ripping off his mask, I was like, you can't rip off the mask of the Mystery King. Like, well, you could see half of his eye.
Yeah, I was surprised. I was like, man, you can see like half of his face. I guess it's because I know what his face looks like now, but even back then, you're like, whoa, that's like half his face. What the hell?
Yeah, I wish that they never took off his mask because as the greatest luchador of all time, as people say, it's kind of a shame that for work he basically, because some asshole white dudes made him, like he had to go unmasked. He looked like a baby in like the late 90s. There was nothing.
Still looks like a baby.
There was nothing cool about having the mask off. It was like you just took it all away. You took away all the mystery. But I don't have anything bad to say about it. Meltzer wouldn't give this 5 stars, which is kind of funny. I'm sure he's had to like eat it, eat his words. Yeah.
That's a 5-star match if I've ever seen one.
4.75.
You just couldn't give it the extra quarter, you son of a bitch.
One of his best ratings of the 90s, but he was very
stingy.
Yeah.
He's stingy.
So, yeah, without a doubt, standout match of the night.
After this match, we got a little backstage segment with Hogan and Eric Bischoff. This was the story thread that they were trying to weave through the pay-per-view of like, Hogan won't wrestle unless there's some kind of contract in place.
Nothing but garbage, yeah.
Yeah, he is garbage. Thank you, Macho. And he won't wrestle unless there's some kind of contract put in place that bans Sting from the arena because Sting has been such a nuisance to him as of late on TV.
Yeah.
And this bled over into the next match, which was Steve Mongo McMichael against a mystery opponent that Queen Deborah had hired to go up against Mongo, and it ended up being Alex Wright. And commentary spent the first few minutes of this match talking about Hogan and the story leading up to it with Piper, and I was like, guys, talk about the fucking match. Like, I don't care. Like, they're trying to make such a big deal out of this, and I'm just like, it's not important. I want to watch the wrestling match.
All this match was I assume they wanted us to take this as the popcorn match or the go smoke a bowl match or whatever people do.
Go pee match.
Yeah, the pee match, because they didn't talk about the fucking match. It was almost kind of like if you go back to like Bash at the Beach or something where they can't talk about anything other than like the third man or who's the third man. It was like that, but you're like, this isn't that interesting. It's like,
yeah,
will Hogan wrestle? Well, I know you're going to have a fucking main event.
Right.
So Hogan will wrestle. Like, well, he says he won't be here, and this is so bad. I mean,
not to mention that the match itself was just okay. Like, it was nothing to write home about, and it was less than 10 minutes. And then it had a horrible referee botch where Goldberg shows up, and actually this was Goldberg early on in his career, so he'd only been on TV like a month before this, and he comes in, he suplexes Mongo, but you can actually see the referee like turn around when he's supposed to not be looking and see, he's being distracted by Deborah.
right.
And he sees Goldberg. Time. He sees Goldberg with Mongo up in the suplex ready for the jackhammer and just goes, oh yeah, I guess I'm not going to look over there after all.
And then he stays away, looking away for like so long.
Yeah.
Like no one would be distracted this long because doesn't Goldberg fucks up, I don't know, more people.
He fucks up Mongo,
right?
and he jackhammers Mongo. Then he picks up Alex Wright and puts him on top of Mongo so that Alex Wright gets the pin and the win. And then I think Goldberg attacks Alex Wright after he takes Mongo's Super Bowl ring. It was just kind of a weird finish.
Deborah, you said her name is?
Yeah.
She gave Goldberg Mongo's Super Bowl ring as like payment, and then dude, I don't even know. Like, I guess this Mongo guy, he was in Super Bowl 20.
He was on the Bears.
With the Bears.
The Bears.
So
watch the Bears.
I mean, it wasn't like bad for physicality, but I mean, it was just shitty booking, shitty commentary. I'm sure these two guys could have had a match somewhere, some parallel universe somewhere, but this was bad.
Alex Wright did a lot of pelvic thrusting in his entrance. He had a leather jacket and then his little Speedo on. It was pretty ridiculous.
He was pretty like cut. He kind of, I don't know, he kind of reminded me of that guy that used to hang out with Gunther.
Ludwig Kaiser, who is now El Grande Americano.
Yeah, kind of. Meltzer gave that one a 1.5. I'd say
that's pretty accurate. Yeah, it was not good.
Anything under 2 is probably okay. Were there any like promos after this match?
There was, yeah. We had Macho Man with Elizabeth in the back.
Oh yeah.
Sadly, not Macho's best promo. He couldn't really find his words. Kept doing the Slim Jim tagline of "snap into it."
Yeah, he was like, "I'm so nervous, I can't even talk."
Yeah, it was not good.
Weren't they pushing like a WW? It was like www.wcwwrestling.com. It was like the whole thing spelled out. I'm surprised they didn't put the https:// on there.
It was the age of the internet had begun, and they were doing a real audio on WCWWrestling.com, and they had interviews with Disco Inferno. I think was the first one they promoted, and then there was one with Macho Man later. Yeah, and they still managed to plug the 900 number later as well.
Oh yeah, they definitely wanted to always have to do that. It's not quite. It's like the crossover between.
Got to get those $1.49 a minute from the kids.
Pick up the phone.
Although they tell the kids not to call without their parents' supervision.
Match 5 was Jacqueline Moore versus Disco Inferno for a mixed gender match.
This shit is dumb.
It's pretty dumb. So Disco Inferno, disco themed dude who like has the whole crowd dancing, sort of like the Saturday Night Fever dance.
But they also hate him as soon as the bell rings.
Yeah, it's pretty cringy just to watch this crowd like dance, you know? Like,
also, he talks a bunch of shit on social media now. I don't know if you knew that. He's like a big Twitter shit talker, and everyone's like, dude, shut the fuck up, Disco.
Yeah, I think he might be a podcaster too. Or something.
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's worried about hitting a woman. You know, he's fighting this like young, curvy, like athletic, curvy lady, and she wants to fight. He doesn't want to hit a woman, so he's running from her for like 10 minutes. And then
it was like 4 minutes, but yeah, the match is only 10 minutes, but it's like 3 to 4 minutes in the beginning. They don't even touch. It was like, I literally wrote, this shit is dumb.
Yeah, there's some kind of, they both get a couple moves. He never really hits her. She gets a nut shot.
crowd very much wanted Jacqueline to beat his ass.
Right. I was thinking, like, why did you agree to this? If you're eventually he threatens to walk out. She follows him down the entryway, and attacks him there. But like, why are you? The logic isn't here in WCW at this time.
Not at all.
Like, if you're just gonna walk away from the match and take the DQ, and you really don't want to be out there for a woman, like, why the fuck are you out there fighting her? You could just not take the match. Or
yeah, it didn't really make sense, and they didn't even really have a real match. Like, there was maybe a minute of like quote unquote wrestling, and even then, I just said like they're having a real match, kind of.
Yeah, I mean, we could just jump to it. Jacqueline rolls up Disco while he's arguing with the ref for like a quick win. Like, they do that a lot in wrestling. They sneak up behind you, schoolboy you or whatever, just kind of play you down. So he didn't really seem like he got the shit kicked out of him. It didn't destroy him that way. Getting beat up by a woman, but like, she rolled him up.
Yeah.
It was like probably the worst match of the night. And
dud from Meltzer, I assume.
0.25, a quarter of a star.
Yeah, might as well be a dud. Quarter of a star. Next match I was actually pretty stoked for on paper. It was Curt Hennig versus Ric Flair for the United States Championship. I guess they had been feuding. Hennig had Flair's robe. Hennig is a member of the NWO at this point. Flair's music hits, and there's no pageantry from Flair. He just runs out, gets the match started, obviously wants his robe back and gets it back pretty quickly. It was okay. Funny enough, I've seen better matches from Flair years after this match. Yeah. I don't know what was going on here, but
he was 48 here, and I mean, he could still go, but
yeah, they're two great workers for sure. I was always a big fan of Curt Hennig, or as he was known in WWF, Mr. Perfect. I think most people who are wrestling fans probably remember the promo of Curt Hennig talking about how great he was, and he throws a football and then runs all the way to the other side of the football field and catches his own pass. Have you seen that?
No.
Oh, it's so good.
That's crazy.
Playing his music. Yeah. I mean, I did like the match. It was just a little disappointing, but they are two great workers who are maybe a little bit past their prime. I remember that Curt Hennig was sadly another wrestler who died too young. He passed away at the age of 44 of an overdose, which was a few years after this, but still very early on.
Him and Flair had wrestled before on an episode of Monday Night Raw. I feel like I'd seen it, so I looked it up. But yeah, it wasn't the greatest match of their careers, but I did like how the chops just happen. They're not a trade. They're smacking the shit out of each other, just sort of in a combative way.
Yeah. No wooing from the crowd on the chops yet. That hadn't become a thing.
Right. Classic American wrestling match vibe, but the commentary's heavily referencing if Hulk Hogan's going to wrestle. I mean, they're talking over this one too. And you have Ric Flair and Kurt or Mr. Perfect in the ring, and you're just talking about Hogan, and it's kind of annoying.
Devaluing the match. Yeah. And I also didn't love the finish. Flair got Hennig in what we call the Tree of Woe now. He clipped his foot underneath the top turnbuckle, hung him upside down, and put the U.S. Championship belt over his face, gave it a drop kick, and that was enough for a disqualification from the referee.
Yeah, and Flair's trying to run in with chairs, and he's trying to get disqualified. And I guess the point of it was Flair was so mad at Kurt that he didn't want to win. He wasn't trying to get that U.S. heavyweight title.
He was just trying to beat the shit out of him.
He just wanted to beat the shit out of him and use weapons or whatever, foreign objects.
It's like, why not just have that match then?
Right. The booking really kind of destroyed any chances of it actually being good. So
I wonder if there was a blow-off after this.
I don't know if there was. Yeah.
What did Meltzer give it?
Oh, Meltzer gave it a 1 3/4 stars.
Ouch. That was a little better than that. There was another promo after this, or I wouldn't call it a promo, it was a segment. So the chairman of the WCW Executive Committee, J.J. Dillon, who we have seen before in older pay-per-views, is on stage with Mean Gene, and he is addressing the demands that Hogan and Bischoff made earlier about banning Sting from the building. And he's like, no, the match will go on. And Bischoff comes out and He keeps saying, "You don't have the stroke." I'm like, what is that phrase? I don't know.
What does that mean? Yeah, he keeps saying you don't have the stroke.
Is he talking about like masturbation?
I don't know.
You ain't got the stroke, bro.
I think he's talking. It seemed like you don't have the power or the authority.
I'm pretty sure that's what it is. But every time he keeps saying you don't have the stroke, I'm like, bro, why are you being so homoerotic?
Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, no, I get it. I was thinking the same thing. Like this whole stroke thing. Bischoff is. I mean, I guess he's a good heel. He's really fucking annoying and smug. And he was in charge of this booking team and creative. He did a terrible job at this point. Like I said, I think he was a one-trick pony that was kind of that 1996 era. And WCW seems from this show to be just falling apart in anything that makes any fucking sense.
And what's crazy is that this was still during the 83 weeks that WCW was beating WWF in the ratings.
Yeah.
Like on TV.
Got to be close to the end.
I believe it was like April of 98 when it stopped. So close-ish to the end. But no, they were still going. I think the big draw was, and we would not be able to really feel the full weight of this, but the main storyline for the entire year of 1997 was Hogan and Sting.
Yeah.
They never ever touched until Starrcade, which was in December of 97. And that was its own thing, which we should probably watch at some point and dissect. But that was the feud that everybody was excited about. Everybody wanted to see Sting get his hands on Hogan. So that was probably part of the reason why they were still beating WWF. And there was the whole unpredictability thing, and NWO were bad guys, but they were cool. We kind of see that on display in the next match, which was Scott Hall versus Lex Luger with Larry Zbyszko as the special guest referee. It's odd because when I look back at the NWO now, it's so fascinating to me because they're bad guys, but they get cheers and people wear the shirts. They have NWO signs. They get cheered in their entrances, but then they don't really get cheered in the matches so much. Like, it's just a very strange thing looking back now and seeing like, okay, yeah, clearly they had something going for them, but they behaved like heels in the ring. And like the crowd was behind Luger, even though the NWO gets cheers when they come out. Like as soon as the match starts, it was just cheering for Luger, It's so strange.
But I guess, I don't know. It throws me off in modern times where people are like, they love to sing for Seth Rollins, whoa, and all that shit. And then he gets in the ring and they're cheering the other guy.
Seth is a wanker.
Yeah, it's weird, but it happens, and it happened back then too. But
I enjoyed this match as well. I love Scott Hall. As I've said before, I've been enjoying Luger in my later years as an adult. I always enjoy Scott Hall. There was, an interesting element to the match with Zbyszko, who very clearly does not like the NWO. He's counting very slowly for Scott Hall, which, normally would piss me off if it was my old pal Nick Patrick. But for this, I was like, yeah, all right. If Zbyszko wants to count slow, that's fine with me. It was kind of a slow match, honestly, but intentionally slow, like paced on purpose to be slow. I thought it was good. Did you like it?
These guys have actually never had a match together, which I thought was interesting. I guess their tenure never really lined up in WWE because Luger was back and they did overlap a little bit, but not long enough for anything to materialize.
Yeah, like 93 probably was when Razor Ramon showed up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, both dudes are huge. Scott's taller. Lex probably got bigger muscles. There's lots of tests of power. I mean, I was excited to see them. I don't. It wasn't like the greatest match in the world. There was a lot of like sleeper holds, but like your sleeper can't be a choke hold, and what does that mean? The sleeper is to cut off circulation of the neck so you pass out, right? But it's like he's got to hit the side of the neck, and that somehow still hurts. And I just thought, you put someone in that hold. I don't know. I've been in that before, and you just fucking go out like pretty quick. Someone puts their arm around your fucking throat. But
yeah.
The best thing you can do is go limp before you pass out, so you can kind of slip under. They're like, "Oh, he's out." And Lex got thrown out of the ring, and you could hear a fan so loud that it made the closed captions go. He goes, "You dyed your hair."
I did hear that.
And it says like on the screen because Lex is like bottle bleach blonde at this point.
Yeah.
It was like as loud as commentary. Usually the crowd responses don't make it on there.
Yep, I remember that.
Zbyszko throws Hall out of the ring, and Hall gets like physical with them. So there was a little bit. As soon as you see your guest referee, like, hey, there's going to be some shenanigans. So I'm like, how is Zbyszko going to fuck this shit up? But
well, he missed a piece of interference by Six, better known as X-Pac or the 1-2-3 Kid, who kicked Luger in the back of the head. Larry Zbyszko was distracted by Bischoff, who had come out to, get his attention away from the match. Scott Hall hits the Razor's Edge, which I don't think he called it that in there, but I don't remember what they said.
No, they didn't call it.
He got the pin in the win, or so we thought, because Zbyszko smelled some foolishness and wanted to see the replay. He saw the interference. He made the match restart, and then it just broke down into a schmaz. And I'm not really sure who won because Zbyszko got attacked by everyone. And
Luger wins with the torture rack.
No, he didn't win.
Oh, he didn't?
Yeah, he was gonna do the torture rack, but then the interference happened. Hall hit him with the Razor's Edge, got the pin, and then Zbyszko was like, no, let me see the replay. And then saw Six interfering. It was like, we're restarting the match. And then everybody just started attacking each other, and somebody knocked Zbyszko out, and then the match was just over.
Okay. All right. The part where fucking going back to before this match, when Dylan pulled out the document, I don't really think he said what it even read. Somehow.
Yeah, he was just like, I've got the contract right here, and he didn't say anything about it.
Yeah, nothing about it. So, but we were supposed to believe that means Hogan's actually going to wrestle, which we already know. But
he doesn't have the stroke.
But he just forgot to. If he had the stroke,
that's what happens when you don't have the stroke. He didn't explain why Hogan had to wrestle.
And his like Farrah Fawcett hair all feathered back and shit. His like black Farrah Fawcett mullet. It was weird. I know that was before this match, but it's still just so, I don't know. It's just such a sloppy piece of wrestling history to try and make any sense of. Oh yeah, the Meltzer rating on Lex Luger versus Scott Hall was a 1/4 star.
Oof.
Also.
Jeez.
And then going to match 8, we have Randy Savage versus DDP Diamond Dallas Page in a Las Vegas sudden death match, which is so sudden death match seems ridiculous because one fall is sudden death.
Right.
In sports, like the NHL, it's like whoever scores first
next score
in
wins,
this extra period wins the match. So sudden death, actually, I don't know a whole lot about sports, but I know that in any sport, if you're in sudden death, it's at the next score, the next goal, the next whatever, basket.
Touchdown.
Yes, you win.
Yeah.
So
this was just a death match.
Some idiot. Yes. And this is what AEW would call a Texas death match, which is also inaccurate because a Texas death match is a 3 count, you pin, and then you get up and the guy has to stay on the ground for 10 more, for a count of 10 more.
Oh, okay. I actually didn't know that. I guess I've never seen a real Texas death match then.
And AEW calls they call a last man standing match a Texas death match.
Yeah. This is a last man standing
This is a last man standing. Yeah. Sorry to spin off on a tangent, but this is stupid. You can't. This whole thing is so stupid.
It was a pretty standard, like, no disqualification match for me. You know, they fight in the crowd, they fight over here, they fight over there. I liked this match too, even though Macho Man is clearly well past his prime. DDP is somehow right in the middle of his prime, and he's like 38.
Yeah, he's the oldest. I think he was the oldest, like, big time wrestler to debut. I think he started at age 35.
Yeah. Well, he had shown up once before, but like it didn't last very long. I think he was in that WCW thing we saw from like 89, one of the Clash of Champions, maybe?
That must have been when he was 35, because I know he's
so he's like already 40 at this point.
Yeah, no, he's a pretty old dude. I mean, he's like 70 years old now, 68 or something like that. He does like yoga, and he's very like an inspirational type of sort of dude, but helps people get sober and shit. I mean, this was one of the best matches. It's not much to say in this pay-per-view, but it wasn't bad. It wasn't like
I enjoyed it. There was some silly stuff, like they fought up to the entrance and were like throwing each other into the styrofoam coffins and headstones, which exploded into white dotted goodness.
Right. It really exposed the illegitimacy of the tombstones there. Oh God. But
Macho Man grabbed a camera and he was ready to hit DDP, but DDP kicked it into Macho's face, and Shivani was like, "Oh my God, he broke a camera. That's like $100,000."
He did. Shivani also, I gotta say, just whatever his whiny voice is and he's so bad as the main play-by-play commentator.
He's better than he is now. All he does now is just be like, "This is great. I'm having a great time."
And Dusty, who's like the best one, is kind of funny. He doesn't say anything for 10, 20 minutes at a time sometimes.
I think he went to go take a nap or something.
Yeah. Oh, dude. But yeah, Liz knocks out the ref and attacks DDP. Macho Man's ex-wife from like 10 years ago. She's with some lawyer in Miami now at this point. Like, this is before she's with Lex Luger. It's kind of awkward for me to see some dude with his wife from the 80s that he's been like estranged from. Accused of assaulting. Yeah, and it's just because Bischoff just wants all that glory that he can take from whatever worked before, we'll do it again, is kind of the mindset.
Yeah.
So I don't really have a lot of respect for how they put things together at this point. It's a far departure from early 80s stuff or late 80s stuff from WCW that I like, because it just has like an earnest quality to it. But
yeah, this was very much like sports entertainment. My old pal Nick Patrick showed up with a dopey ass mustache once the referee got dragged out by Elizabeth, or smacked by Elizabeth. I mean, say what you will about the match. It was good. It wasn't great, but DDP, he was over, man. The crowd loved him. They were ready for that diamond cutter. And he went for it pretty late in the match, and Savage had an interesting sort of counter to it. He was close to the ropes and he just grabbed the top rope so DDP couldn't, finish the diamond cutter. I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, and then at some point, Hogan comes out dressed as Sting.
Yep.
And smacks DDP with a bat. Savage gets the win. Pretty shitty finish again. Like, they can't do anything clean. They can't do anything with any level of seriousness. It's just, at this point, I'm like researching, like, who fucking booked this? Like, what is this shit?
It was Bischoff.
It was Bischoff, but he was focusing more on like the NWO celebrity tie-ins, things of that nature. And Hogan and Hall and Nash had kind of their own, they were free to book as they pleased. So everyone was kind of booking for themselves. It was kind of the inmates running the asylum, so to speak.
But then it was time for the main event.
Thank God. We're almost there, right?
Yeah. And, the one thing I will give WCW credit for is that they always had Michael Buffer, the famous boxing announcer, who would always say, "Let's get ready to rumble." He always does the introductions for the main events. We're not allowed to say that. We're going to get sued.
I mean, I think you're not, like, people are not allowed to say that in general, but we can say it because they're not going to find this podcast.
Sue me. Yeah. It always brings a touch of class to the main events. And so we got Hogan versus Piper in a steel cage. First thing that made me audibly laugh out loud was when Michael Buffer billed Roddy Piper as being a native of Glasgow, Scotland.
Dude, I wrote down the same thing. I was like, this motherfucker's from Canada.
Detroit or something? Yeah.
Saskatchewan
Canada.
or whatever, however you say it. Yeah.
Yeah, and Piper came out. He had Hogan's belt for some reason. I guess he had taken it away from him, but Hogan was still the WCW World Heavyweight Champion at this time. And this steel cage match was not for the title.
Yeah.
This match was garbage. Piper spent the first 60 seconds biting Hogan's ass and back and head.
Yeah, dude. And before the match, okay, so there's no referee in this fucking ring, right? Because they're telling us, correct me if I'm wrong, Aaron, but they're telling us you have to, there's, first of all, they say there's no door, right? Or they make us, and then there's a door and it's open. And they tell us,
like, you just have to survive.
You have to survive. They may have not said a thing about there's no door, but they definitely, they're like, there's no referee because it's all about survival. They make me think like you have to get out, but they fight outside of the ring. They fight their way and like punching and grabbing onto each other, and they walk right outside the ring, and there's no locked door.
Yeah, because they stepped outside of the cage door at the same time. That's what the commentators said. They were like, oh, well, they both walked out at the same time, so I guess nobody won.
But clearly the commentary are just trying to figure out what the hell's going on also.
Yeah.
Because why are they outside the fucking ring? It should be over. It should be they both lost or whoever walked out first. But no, they keep on going.
And it gets worse as time goes on too. Like it appears as though Sting shows up in the entranceway, but after you take a second to look, you're like, that's someone wearing a Sting mask.
Right.
And then like 30 seconds later, there's another Sting.
Right.
And like within the next few minutes, there's like 5 Stings just like randomly around.
That's where like Raven and all those people come into play, right? They're all the Stings.
Oh, is that who they are? That would make a lot of sense.
I thought one of them looked like Raven.
I don't know that anybody actually revealed who these fake Stings were, but this was just sloppy. It was not very fun. And you could tell that it was bad, not just because of what we're saying, but because the crowd was like completely unresponsive to this entire thing.
And they're trying to climb out of the cage, even though the door is wide fucking open. And it's not the cage that you see like in WWE where it's right around the ring. It's more like the Hell in the Cell style without a top.
Except it's flimsy as all hell.
It extends beyond the outside of the...
Yeah, dude, it looks scary when they were climbing up there. It was like wiggling and shit.
And then all of a sudden they put a ref in there anyways, which I'm not really... Yeah,
because Hogan's like, oh, I'm going to give him a leg drop, so you gotta count the pin. I'm like, what is this? What are they doing?
And there's just more Stings showing up over and over. Hogan tries to climb out at one point, but he decides to climb back in because he's
one of the fake Stings
scared of Stings.
Yeah,
which is fine, but
it's so clearly not Sting, and like they didn't explain who all of these fake Stings were. If they had done any of that, then it probably would have been better.
My issue is, and it doesn't really matter what order we go in because this is a shit match, but Piper gets like beat up by the NWO at the end, and none of those fake Stings are anywhere to be found.
Yeah, one of them, I think, showed up. Someone ripped off his mask, and it was a dude with like a stocking over his head, and you couldn't even see who it was. I was like, what is the point of this?
Yeah, I don't know. And a fan... I mean, okay, so hold on.
Piper gets Hogan in a sleeper. Technically, he wins the match. It's the only time the crowd reacts to anything.
Yeah.
Except for after that, and then they start chanting, we want Sting, because they want the real Sting, not these 5 fakers.
Right. And Piper gets like handcuffed to the cage and gets the crap beat out of him. And there's a quote unquote fan climbs into the ring. I remember watching this part before. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I don't think it's a fan. I think it's just they planted someone to be the fan and they made it.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm curious if it's real or not, because the one thing I do know is that when a fan does come and interfere in a wrestling match, the wrestlers beat the shit out of them and the ref too. And they were kind of doing that. Yeah. I don't know if you noticed, but like Hogan was hitting him hard. Macho was grabbing him really hard. Even the referee was like pulling on him. So maybe it was a real fan, but it was like, why are you doing this? Why is this necessary? And then the pay-per-view is just over. We're out of time.
Yeah.
And then it's just credits. I'm like, what the fuck? This is terrible. This is this ruins the whole pay-per-view because this finish was so stupid.
Yeah. Okay, so this is saying the person who climbed into the ring at Halloween Havoc 1997 was not a real fan, but a quote-unquote plant wrestler who was part of a planned storyline. So, according to the internet,
congratulations, you made a dumb fucking choice.
Right.
That was terrible.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
WCW with shit main events yet again. That's the thing. Like, Hogan always wanted to be in the main event, always controlled the booking, and just none of them were ever good. Ever.
What do you think Meltzer gave this one?
1.
He actually went dud on this one.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, confusing, stupid.
And then it's just over.
Big names, huge expectation. But like you said, it's in a long line of weak closers. But let's get into the grapple grade. How about that? Our our rating system here, as some of you all might know, is fast forward, play, rewind. Fast forward being boo, play being yay, and rewind being 2 thumbs up. On this one, I would say this is one of the worst pay-per-views we'd watched since we started the show in the past 23 episodes of the show. Sure, we've had some bangers in there, but this one, for all the above reasons, for the past hour that we've been talking, is like total complete shit. I would say watch, obviously, Ray and Eddie. That's required viewing, and I agree with everyone who's ever said as much, but you can always just grab that, on YouTube or wherever. I would assume you'd feel the same, Aaron.
Well, I did originally write down that I can't, in good conscience, give this a fast forward.
I said fast. Did I say fast forward, or did I just say it sucks?
Did you? You just said it sucks, I think.
I think last time I went on and never said that I meant to give it a rewind for last episode. But yeah, fast forward for sure on this one.
So for me, I can't. I originally felt like I couldn't, in good conscience, give this a fast forward because of the Rey Mysterio Jr. and Eddie Guerrero match. And honestly, I thought that Ultimo Dragon and Nagata was really good. I enjoyed Macho Man versus DDP for what it was. So I was gonna go play, but talking about this main event has riled me up so much. And I am very much of the belief that, people tend to remember the finish of something more than anything else, whether that is an individual match or the main event of a pay-per-view. Yeah. So
all's well that ends well. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to give it a fast forward, and I'm going to say the same thing that you said, which is watch Rey Mysterio Jr. versus Eddie Guerrero. It is one of the best matches you will ever see from WCW, at least mid to late 90s WCW. But everything else is mostly terrible, as Charles Barkley would say.
We always love to hear from you out there, the Grapple Gang. You can call us at 626-657-SLAM.
Pick up the phone.
That'll reach our Google Voice line. You can leave a voicemail, and we will play whatever you have to say. If you want to tell us where you were when you saw your first pro wrestling pay-per-view, if you want to tell us a pay-per-view that we haven't reviewed yet that we should, we'd like to hear that. And if you just want to cut a promo on Aaron or cut a promo on me, good or bad, we love to hear it. You can also hit us up. All of our contact information is in the Grapple City podcast description. We're also on X, Twitter, TikTok, what have you, at Grapple City Pod, Instagram, probably more than the others. I know we're running a little late on time right now. I'm not going to go like crazy with a voicemail, although I promise I will play another voicemail next week. We're doing this more and more often, but let's see, what do I have here? Mercedes-Benz on TikTok, at Mercedes Retrograde on TikTok, commented on our clip from Halloween Havoc 1991, where Abdullah the Butcher got fried in an electric chair, and we were kind of making fun of it because it was sort of a messy cheesy. But he said this was his first WCW pay-per-view as a kid, and it was such a difference compared to WWF at the time.
Oh yeah, I believe that.
And where he fell in love WCW. And I get that. If it's nostalgic for you, right? Like honestly, even this pay-per-view that we just watched that was kind of total shit, I have a lot of fun watching it. And the things that I remember, the people that I remember, like seeing, Henning and Flair and stuff, I get excited about. And I could see how if you were a kid watching that it would be cool. Some of the stuff, so like that particular spot with the electric chair was not, particularly nostalgic for me. It was just stupid. It was me like 43 years old watching it, so.
Right. I mean, if you were like a 7-year-old in the audience, you might have thought it was real. So I could see how you probably were like, whoa, wrestling is cool.
Yeah. I mean, I get that. And yeah, I mean, 1991 WWF is a bit different. It has like a less gritty quality to it, and it's all about
it's like Ultimate Warrior and
Big Boss
Isaac
Man.
Yankem and shit.
Yeah, everyone's got like a career. Like you're
the gardener,
you're a cop,
the
you're a
bushwhacker.
Monty, you do weird shit in the outback. Like I don't know,
You're a clown.
Yeah, it was very character-y. Yeah, no, that was still one of the funniest spots. One of the funniest shit, like bad spots we've seen is Abdullah in the electric chair. So that was cool. Before we leave, this was my call, Aaron. I apologize for that one. But we got to watch them all, man. Can't all be good. So
like Pokemon, got to catch them all, baby.
So you are calling the next pay-per-view we're going to watch. Go ahead and give that to me if you don't mind.
Sure. You're influencing me to continue to pick October pay-per-views since we are in the month of October. So I'm going to go chronological from my last choice, and we're going to watch No Mercy 2002.
No Mercy 2002. What's that one all about?
So No Mercy 2002 was in Little Rock, Arkansas, and highlights of this one, we have Brock Lesnar versus The Undertaker in a Hell in a Cell.
Wow.
We've got Trish Stratus versus Victoria, Triple H versus Kane, RVD versus Ric Flair, Tori Wilson against Dawn Marie. Yeah. Woo. Kurt Angle and Chris Benoit against Edge and Rey Mysterio.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Hadn't seen Edge and Mysterio tag before.
Oh, yeah, they were a tag team for a while. I do remember that. They were actually, I think, it was a year after what we had watched previously. So Edge was still a babyface. Rey had come to WWE. Oh, yeah, because this is like a very soon after they became WWE.
I see.
So, Rey just showed up. He was obviously a huge babyface. And that match, the Angle, Benoit, Edge, Mysterio, was for the inaugural WWE Tag Team Championship.
Sick. Looking forward to checking it out. Hopefully it's better than what we just watched. That's all the time we've got for today. Feel free to watch along. Watch No Mercy 2002 so you know what we're talking about when we come back, or don't. Just listen to us talk shit about it or praise it later. Don't forget to call that number, 626-657-SLAM. I'm going to play some voicemails on the next episode.
Adios. Catch you in the cheap seats.